Queens, the existence taught the Greece. 67 DDC, stolen legacy by George G. M. James, wrote in 1954. Read the book.
Yo, Black family power. Black man power. Black woman power. Black child power is King Leon X. KLX UBVOA. The Human Liberator. This is episode 58. This is week 12. Episode 58 of Take Charge of Your Life. Take Charge of Your Mind is my midday self-mastery, self-motivation series. Take charge of your life. Take charge of your life. Take charge of your day. Take charge of your mind. Take charge of your mental attitude. Remember, the only limitation that you have is the one you set up in your own mind, or you allow others to set up for you. All right? If I say something that resonates with you in this episode, make sure you type "make the choice." Right? Make the choice. Because we don't have to take charge of our life. We don't have to take responsibility for the space that we occupy. We don't have to become our greatest version. We choose to, because we understand the benefits. We understand the results that will come with our persistent, deliberate, continuous action. All right, we do know that we live in a world of cause and effect. We live in a world of cause and result. And our current results are who we are, where we are right now. It's not who we are, it's who we were. Because if we firmly understand and agree that if we would have thought different things in the past and done different things, then we'd be in a different situation today. So that means our past thoughts and actions and our beliefs and our habits put us in the situation where we are today. That is just a result of who we were. That's a result of who we were. All right. Now, what we talking about this week is profiting from adversity, learning from adversity. Can you turn it down? Yeah. We're talking about learning from adversity. We're talking about profiting from adversity. All right. We know that a setback is a setup for a comeback. All right. In every setback, it's a setup for a comeback. There's a seed of equivalent benefit contained in every setback. All right, when we went and we listed how to write your plan out for life in 7 steps. The third step was listing the obstacles that you have to overcome. All right, the first was write what you want. The second was get a clear date. The third was list the obstacles that you have to overcome. The fourth was identify the groups, people, and organizations that are necessary for you to work with. The sixth or fifth was identifying the knowledge and skills required. The sixth was setting a plan of action, and the seventh was identifying what's in it for you. So what we're gonna focus on is what we talk about today is profiting from adversity. So when you have listed those obstacles, even though you had listed those and you were prepared for those, or you knew that you are going to have to overcome obstacles to get from where you are now to where you want to be, but how do we not only maintain a positive attitude from the obstacles, but how can we learn from the obstacles? How do we learn to profit from every setback? How do we learn to build internal assets and monuments of self-inspiration based on our own personal story? Again, this is episode 58. If I say something that resonates with you, go ahead and type "make the choice." And if you could hear me, go ahead and type "make the choice" too. Alright, because today's a Monday, right? It's money making, motivated, magnificent, magnetic Monday, where we get to put out our intentions that we put out last night, and then today some of these things begin to manifest, and throughout the week we'll be able to manifest some of our intentions. The action step for last week we did when we was going over going the extra mile. Last week we covered going the extra mile. Yo, I see you, Ralph. I see you, T-Mac. Yeah, make the choice. I see y'all in here. Last week we were talking about profiting from adversity, and so there was going the extra mile, and there was an assignment for everyone, a 7-day assignment for everyone. If you missed the last 2 or 3 days on it, I'm gonna remind y'all this week that same assignment, going the extra mile. The first step is to render a useful service to someone that's not expecting you to render it to them. And don't ask for any form of compensation. Don't ask or expect for any form of compensation. We talk about going the extra mile, giving more service, better service than expected to give, and doing it all with a positive attitude and a pleasing personality. So the first action step was to give a service, render a service, right, on someone who's who's not expecting you to render that service, all right? And then the second thing is to render that service with a positive mental attitude. And then the third step was to repeat that for 7 days, all right? And don't tell anyone that you're doing it, and be surprised on the benefits. Last week we were talking about going the extra mile, giving more service and better service than expected to give, and doing it all with a positive mental attitude and a pleasing personality. So today, this is episode 58. Take charge of your life. I got 30 minutes for y'all today. I got 30 minutes for y'all every Monday, 30 minutes for y'all every Friday, and 15 minutes for every day in between. All right? So we're talking about profiting from adversity, learning from adversity. First off, I want y'all to think about your own life. Think about your own setbacks. Think about your own obstacles that you had to overcome. Think about things that you already been through. Think about the adversities that you already been through, where you can sit back now and know 100% fact that if it didn't go down that way, if you didn't have that exact experience the way it was, then you wouldn't have learned this particular lesson. I want you to recall a moment in your life where you had a setback or some adversity that you have to overcome. You didn't really understand why you was going through it then, but you know today now that you went through that to learn this particular lesson. And this lesson that you learn is a greater benefit or equivalent benefit to the detriment of that setback. Right? We have to agree. If you agree and you know that, go ahead, type, make the choice. If you know that you already overcame some obstacles, you can already look at your prior adversity and realize that you profited from that. Realize that you came from that adversity, you came out stronger, you came out wiser, you came out better, you came out more prepared, you came out more informed, okay? You came out more sure, right? So I just wanted to make sure that we are aware about the nature of adversity. Because everyone experiences adversity. Everyone experiences setback. Adversity is nature's way of teaching people how to take possession of their own lives. Adversity is nature's way of teaching people how to take charge of their life. Adversity is nature's way of teaching people how to take responsibility for the space that they occupy. Adversity is the nature's way of teaching you that you got the power. It's not until you go through enough struggle, through enough obstacles, through enough discouragement, and you realize that, hey, enough is enough. I'm not feeling this no more. I refuse to live like this anymore. And then once you make that decision, we know that that's an internal decision. So the outside might not necessarily manifest that or reflect that immediately. That's why they say faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. That's why I said walk by faith and not by sight. Because like we said yesterday or last week, you got two eyes to look, one to see. So what can you see clearly with your eyes closed? You open your eyes, you might not see it. And the people around you damn sure don't see it. And they're never going to see it until it physically manifests. So how sure are you of the direction in which you're heading? How sure are you of where you're going and the things that you need to do to get there? How willing are you to go through the obstacle and to get back up every time you fall, right? Or are you just going to quit before your idea turns to the physical form for the rest of the world to see it? Because if you quit before that, they're going to say, I told you so. But if you persist and push, then you're going to be the one who's be able to say, I told you so. All right? So, we're talking about profiting from adversity. And how do we maintain a positive attitude through our adversity? We can only do that with a definite major purpose. Everyone experiences setbacks. Everyone experiences heartache. Everyone experiences pain. Pain is inevitable. Suffering is optional. Suffering is optional. You have to choose to suffer. You have to choose to suffer. Pain is inevitable. Suffering is optional. You can't. Everyone experiences pain. Some people profit from the pain, and then some people let the pain paralyze them. Are you gonna let the pain paralyze you, or are you gonna let the pain turn into purpose? Are you gonna turn your pain into purpose? Are you gonna turn your pain into passion? Are you gonna turn your pain into perseverance and persistence? Are you gonna push through no matter what? You see? Or is your pain gonna be what paralyzes you from action? I'm here to tell you and teach you and guide and assist you through your adversity with some proven strategies, processes, tactics that you can implement right now. You can implement on a daily basis to measurably increase the quality of your life. So again, this episode 58. I'm King Leon Next, the Human Liberator. I'm about to go in for the next 20 minutes on profiting from adversity, right? So I need y'all to type "make the choice" in the comments when I say something that resonates with you. All right, and let me repeat this again. What's adversity? Adversity is nature's way of teaching people how to take possession of their own lives. The only people who resonate, the only people who respond well to my Take Charge of Your Life series and to my self-mastery doctrine, which tells you to turn inward, work harder on yourself than you do on your job. The people who understand that they got the power, only people who resonate with my message are people who've been through a certain amount of adversity. And they're interested in ways to profit from that. Interested in ways to turn their story into a monument of inspiration. Right? To profit from adversity, in order to profit from adversity, you have to make the choice. You can't profit from adversity without making the choice. The choice to have and maintain a positive attitude. We already went over 20 different strategies, 20 different things that you could do on a daily basis, concepts that you could think and consider, daily rituals that you could implement to maintain a positive attitude. Because without the positive attitude, which has the list of riches, then nothing else that you acquire, nothing else that you experience will be fulfilling. You could have all your goals. You could turn all your goals to accomplishments every single time, 100% of the time, but without the positive mental attitude, then you will still not be fulfilled. You still will not have happiness. You still will not have the good life. You still won't have the peace of mind. You'll still be frustrated. You'll still be worried. You'll still have envy and jealousy and hatred and bigotry. You know what I mean? And superstition. So it's definiteness of purpose that allows us to make the choice to maintain and direct our positive mental attitude. So in every adversity, there's the seed of equivalent benefit, right? Just like every tree. A lot of y'all never planted food before, and a lot of y'all never planted fruit. So y'all might just have to know based on your imagination. But so when I'm in an urban garden, right, and I go out and we take these seeds, and we done broke up the ground, and we got the soil ready, right? And we about to get our hands dirty now, right? We got our gloves on. We got our clothes that don't mind getting dirty on. We out in nature, right? Black labor, black wealth, right? So we take this fruit, or we take this this apple, or we take whatever it is, when you pluck it from the tree, right? You pluck it so it appears the tree that lost an apple, right? But inside of the apple contains the seed of equivalent benefit if you search for it and use it properly, right? So the tree could be like, damn, that's a setback, man. I had all these apples, now I don't have this apple, right? Now I got 1 apple less, I got 2 apples less, I got however many apples left. There's seeds contained within each apple that's going to produce the equivalent benefit, can produce more trees, right? More and more trees, just like there's seeds contained in whatever your setbacks are, right? The first time for example, the first time I went to jail in 2009, or not the first time I went to jail, but one of the first times I went to jail. First time I had a felony charge, it was Virginia versus me. And I took it to trial, right? And I got jammed up with a half a pound of weed, a scale, a couple $1,000, and they tried to charge me with felony possession with intent to distribute. I took it to trial. I was found not guilty, and I got a misdemeanor possession charge. But when I was in jail, though, during that time, when I was sitting, a shift happened to me where at that time I wasn't fully aware of how I was going to benefit from this. I wasn't fully aware of what equivalent, how it's going to profit or prosper from this situation. But in retrospect, when I look back on those situations, it was the decision that I made then to no longer be a drug dealer anymore, right? Where I was like, yo, no matter how hard it is, no matter how bad it gets, I'm gonna make it, and I'm not going to put myself in a position where I have to end up here for the same thing. And so from that, so the seed was the seed of equivalent benefit in that situation for me was teaching me to take possession of my own life and take possession of my own mind and my own situation. I had to realize that it was my thoughts, my actions, and my decisions that led me there. And within that adversity, if I wanted to ensure that I don't go back for the same reasons, then I would have to take responsibility and implement a new way of thinking and a new way of acting and doing things. Right? And so that's just something simple that affected me from 2009 to now. And every single year, I find another benefit from that situation. Right? Not even if it was just the relationships of the people that I met while I was in there, who I now serve as a monument of inspiration to, because they knew me then, and then they see me now, and they know that if I could do it, if it wasn't nothing but some new ideas, if it wasn't but some new concepts that shifted my mind, if it wasn't nothing but some adversity that I didn't give up on, you know, if I could do it, if LJ could do it, if LJ could turn to King Leon X, the human liberator, then I for sure can take charge of my life too. Right? So it's benefits of going the extra mile, right? And it's benefits of profiting from adversity. Most people, when they have a setback, they just all of a sudden they just focus on the setback. They just focus on the drama. They just focus on the can't do portion. But we could train our mind to focus on the can do portion, right? Even if that can do portion is nothing but shifting our mental attitude to more a harmonious state. Because if it's like if we don't like something, change it. If we can't change it, we got to change what we think about it. When we change the way that we look at things, the things that we look at change. Right? So there is nothing in life that's so unpleasant that it doesn't have an equivalent benefit. Everything in life has an equivalent benefit. Everything. There's nothing that exists There's nothing that exists that does not have a polar opposite. This is a universal law of polarity. We understand this in our positive and negative. We understand this in divine feminine, divine masculine. We understand this in east, west, north, south. We understand this with up, down. We understand this with in, out. Right? So if we understand it with all of these things, which are just physical manifestations of thought, then we must understand it in the internal. We must understand the law of correspondences, as above, so below. So if all these things exist in the physical world, then these things must also exist in our internal world, in the spiritual world, in the mental world, in the emotional world. And so everything has an equivalent benefit. Nothing is so unpleasant that we can't switch our mind to search for the seed of equivalent benefit. If there's nothing so horrible, there's nothing so unpleasant that we cannot affirm that this too shall pass. We know that it shall pass. And if everything passes, then why must I be of too concerned of like the particular right now this moment? Why if I know that everything passes, then why should my joy be taken from this moment? You see? So these are some concepts and ideas that I learned some years ago that I'm still beginning to implement, because people and things and situations and environments still affect my mental attitude and affect my poise and affect my my productivity. But here we are, on a collective journey of growth, a collective journey of inspiration and information, right? Where we all document our journeys, and we all are making ourselves vulnerable enough to let each other learn from each other. Let each other learn from our triumphs, and let each other learn from our temporary defeats. Right? There's nothing so unpleasant that it does not have an equivalent benefit. Learn to search for the equivalent benefit. Every setback, there's a setup for a comeback. All right? If we know that there's a setup for a comeback in every setback, then we could just train our mind to focus on how we come back as soon as we set back. This is going to help us maintain a positive mental attitude. This is what's going to give us strength and personal power. This is what's going to help restore our confidence in ourselves. This is what's going to restore the confidence in our ability to take charge. You see? We have to take full responsibility. We have to take full responsibility and full possession of our mind. And that is the obvious benefit from the Creator. The Creator only gives us one purpose. One choice. One thing that we have 100% irrefutable control over. The all has gave everyone control over our thoughts and actions, which is our personal freedoms, right? Our mental attitude. We are free to believe what we want to believe. And our beliefs and what we choose, we are free to choose what we want to believe. And from our beliefs become our thoughts. From our thoughts become our decisions. Our decisions become our actions and our words. Our words and actions become our habits. Our habits become our character. Our character becomes our destiny. So yes, you are free to choose what you believe, but from your belief, your destiny is outlined in chalk. Your destiny is predetermined based on your belief system. The limitations or lack thereof of your life is dependent upon your belief system and your philosophy. Your philosophy is the major determining factor on how your life turns out. Those who think they can and those who think they can't are both right. So every single time you summon up enough energy to do something, to write out a goal or try and act or try and become someone that that you feel like you should be, you're always going to experience adversity. Like, you're always going to experience setback. You're always going to experience obstacles. Obstacles, setbacks, adversity happens to everyone. The difference between successful and unsuccessful people is that unsuccessful people allow those adversities, setbacks, and heartaches, the hard times, to paralyze them, to stop them, to shut them up, to quiet them up, to change their direction. Right? Whereas successful people, these setbacks, these adversities, these heartaches, these hard times are only there to strengthen their will and their definiteness of what they're really trying to do in the first place. And then so they know that if they are experiencing a setback, if they are experiencing adversity, if it's not as harmonious as they intended to be, then it's a byproduct of something, a thought or action that they had already put out. So therefore, they use setbacks and adversity as times for self-examination, to turn inward and to figure out what adjustments need to be made, if adjustments need to be made at all. Right? And when we take full responsibility of our mind, and we take full responsibility for the direction of where our life turns out, you know what I mean? Then we are accepting our birthright from the Creator. And when we do that, we're able to write our own ticket. We're able to write our own ticket. And guess what? Another universal law is the law of use. The law of use says you lose what you don't use. So if you don't use your mind, you will lose it. Have you ever seen someone who's lost their mind? If you don't lose your mind, you will lose it. You will lose your mind, and it will be replaced with putty. It will be replaced with plastic. It'll be replaced with paper. It'll be replaced with a whole bunch of nothingness, a whole bunch of substanceless. If you refuse to use your mind, right? People be like, oh yeah, I use my mind. I woke up this morning, I'm watching your video, I'm going to work, I'm doing this, I'm doing all these things. Yo, check this out. Consider this. Yeah, you might be in control of all that, but consider this. You ain't doing nothing, and you ain't going nowhere. Consider that. Consider that. You ain't doing nothing, and you ain't going nowhere. All these people want to talk to other people and judge their life and think that their life is better than someone else's just because they go to work every day and someone else pays them money. So then now with that money, this person can buy these things that they feel like they need. And then when someone doesn't have those things that this person felt like they need, then they're like, oh, you're not doing as good as me because you don't have these things that I have. But guess what? These people might not have the things that you have, especially if you started turning inward. Most people are just working hard on their job. They're not concerned with working on themselves. They're not concerned with their peace of mind and what that's going to be like 5 years from now and 10 years from now. You see, they're not concerned with living. They're not concerned with the fact that they could die in 20 minutes. And the last thing that they're going to be doing is some shit that they didn't want to do. You know what I mean? They're not concerned with the fact that they could they could have all of these things and they could be in all these types of positions, but that's not the only thing that life is. That's not the only thing that life is. That's someone told you that. Someone told you that, but what have you discovered that life is for yourself? What is life for yourself? What is life for you? You see, and the more adversity we hit, the more adversity and obstacles we have to overcome, the more clearer and clearer we get about all the misconceptions of life, what people told us life is, and then what we find it out it really is. Right? The power structure is robbing people from their birthright robbing people from their personal freedom, robbing people from the understanding and the awareness that they got the power, that they could take charge of their life. Like, so I'm not here to help you. I'm not here to teach you anything. I'm here to help you explore. I'm here to guide and assist you in the exploration of yourself, right? I'm here to serve as a mirror of parts of yourself that are already there that you might not speak to every day. Parts of yourself that you might suppress because you think that you have to be this type of way in order for people to like you, or in order for people to love you, or in order for you to do this, or in order for you to have that. But I'm here to tell you, you could do this, and have that because you decided to, right? And once you decide what you want, then you just got to be willing to put in whatever work and go through whatever is necessary and never quit and never give up until you achieve it. If you study adversity and you study the setbacks of life, you'll realize that there's no successful person that ever existed. There's no person who achieved anything of monumental significance that did not have to learn how to profit from adversity. They did not understand the power that they have to redirect their mind to the ends of their choice, to the power that they have to search for the seed of equivalent benefit in every setback. Every successful person knows that there's nothing that's going to happen right now. There's nothing that can happen under this sun that will stop the earth from spinning on its axis. There's nothing that can happen that will stop winter from coming after fall. There's nothing that can happen, right? There's nothing that man can do. There's, like, time goes on. The show goes on, right? Okay, you got a setback. Now, are you going to get back up? It's like, how long are you going to get back up? How long is it going to take you to get back up, ultimately? Or are you just going to lay that? Or are you just going to lay there? You get a setback, you fall. Are you going to lay there? Or are you going to get back up? Each time someone falls, like a skateboarder, for example, each time this person falls off the skateboard or a ramp or a BMX, they learn something. Each time they get up with profiting. They get up knowing either what to do or more what not to do. Okay, it's equivalent benefit in each time the BMX person, the skateboarder, the motocross person falls. Each time they fall, they know that they're the cause of their fall, and they're the solution if they don't want to fall anymore. They know that with each fall, each bruise, each bump, they find a lesson. And so then that fall was no longer a loss. It was a lesson. Right? And that mistake was no longer a mistake. It was a message. But if you don't learn the lesson and if you don't get the message, then you're not going to have the equivalent benefit. You see? So yeah, this is King Leon X, the Human Liberator. This was episode 58. Take charge of your life. It's my midday self-mastery motivation series. Go to my website, kingleonx.com. You can get my book and my album. And stay tuned, because I'm about to start releasing these programs where we could start practicing some of these concepts as a collective, as a group, as a club with particular collective goals and aims and visions. So if I said something that resonated with you in this video, not only type make the choice, but go ahead and share it so people that's on your news feed could see it as well. Alright? So y'all stay blessed. Y'all stay grateful.